Hey guys, it's a 2-video day, aren't you excited? So in the last video I made, I talked about culture shock and all the stages of adjustment that you're going to go through while you're adjusting to a new country. Now I'm going to talk about one of the worst things about studying abroad, and that is reverse culture shock. Reverse culture shock is when you come back to the States and you feel like you don't fit here anymore. You've changed while you were abroad. And it's really hard to go through. It was really hard for me. I came back in December and I'm still going through it. For me, it was really hard to readjust to my mundane, everyday life that I'd had when I was in the US. And it was really hard when I wanted to talk about all my experiences that I had abroad, and it was like people didn't want to listen. They would ask me, oh, how was the trip? And expect me to give the 5-minute version of everything that I experienced and everything that I did. And it's impossible. I don't want to say that they didn't care, but they really didn't, because they hadn't had these experiences that I had, and so they didn't understand how much I had changed. And it really hurt to have my friends listening to me, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And some of my friends were like, they really hurt me because they were like, we need to re-Americanize you. You need to stop talking about Guatemala and Peru. And every time I talked about something that happened in Guatemala or Peru, they'd be like, oh, well, you're not there anymore. Shut up. You're in America now. And it was really hurtful to me because I wasn't the same person that I was when I left. And, they were insulting who I had become. I felt like they were, at least. I remember one time I went to a New Year's party, and I was making a joke about how I was uncomfortable showing up early because in Latin America they have the Latin hour, and that's where, for social events, you never show up at the time something says that it starts. Like, if a party starts at 7, don't go until like 8 or 8:30, because if you show up at 7, you're going to offend the person that's throwing the party because they'll still be getting ready. So I joked about that, and my friend that was throwing the party said, well, we're not in South America anymore, are we? And so it's just really frustrating. I would say that I went through more adjustment when I came back than I did when I first got to Guatemala or when I first got to Peru. It's horrible. I remember coming back and walking through the airport in Omaha in December and just thinking that it was so small, and like it was literally empty. There was nobody there. And while I was traveling all around, all the airports I went to were huge international airports, and Eppley Airfield in Omaha, Nebraska is not international. It's just a regular airport. So immediately I was having reverse culture shock. And I remember looking out at the streets and the buildings and everything on the ride back to my house and just thinking that everything was so small, and I felt, I don't know how to explain it, I felt like I was suffocating. Everything was just so tiny and so compact compared to what I knew in Latin America. I also felt, and still feel to this day, some really negative things about the US. My mom actually asked me one time, do you hate America? And I was like, well, yeah, I kind of do. Because when you're abroad, you get other people's, other cultures' opinions on America and Americans, and not all of them are good. So I would talk about that and be really judgmental of the United States and everything, and now that I think about it, I can see how people got sick of me, but I don't know, that's just how I felt, and I still feel like that. To be honest, I hate being back. I hate it. I hate being in the US and when I know how much more there is out there in the world. And it was just really hard because my friends and family expected me to just resume my life like I had never left, and I couldn't. Because I don't feel American anymore. Like, I'm from the US and I feel that part of me, that part of my culture, but I also feel Guatemalan and I also feel Peruvian. So I don't know what I am anymore. One thing that really helped me coming back was joining the Spanish club at my university. I'd technically been a member since I was a freshman, but I'd never gone to a meeting. Like, I was just on the Facebook group. And I finally went, and it was just so relieving to talk to people in Spanish and talk to people who had similar interests and beliefs and opinions as me. But I'm still adjusting. I'm still trying to get back to my life how it was before I left. And I know it's never going to happen. I experienced too many things while I was abroad, and so as you can see, I'm still going through reverse culture shock. So if anyone's watching this who has studied abroad and has some tips for me, I would really appreciate them. So the past few months have been really, really hard on me, and that's why I'm really excited to be going back to Peru in July for a month. I'm going to visit my boyfriend and my host family and all the friends that I met there, and I'm really excited to do that. So I guess what I want to tell everyone is just go abroad, have fun, immerse yourself in another culture, but just know that when you come back, expect to go through all of this, what I'm going through right now. But this is the only bad thing about studying abroad, coming back. So I guess if you really don't want to experience reverse culture shock, don't come back. See you next time.